This is the RPM Podcast, starring Eric Brennan.
The least knowledgeable sports talk person that I've ever heard.
Eric Graham.
He's notoriously fussy.
Sam Ballard Jr.
He has no idea what he's talking about.
Nick Rendo.
He falls asleep while he's on the air.
And Josh Matthews.
The only time he ever goes viral is when he looks like a buffoon.
And now, back to the show.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 102nd episode of the RPM Podcast. We're getting old, Josh.
Well,
These whippersnappers are running circles around us. Anyway, welcome to the RPM Podcast. If you're new, hi. If you're old, thanks for coming back. Grab a beer. It's in Josh's fridge.
well, yeah, but I have a limited supply. Our liquor store literally burned down.
That's true. And we're going to burn down the house. We're going to burn down the house tonight with this episode, folks.
Only after we raise the roof.
Because the roof is on fire. At least down the road it was. Anyway, Sam Ballard Jr., Josh Matthews across me running the boards. And on the big screen tonight, not very big because there's two of y'all, I got Miss Evergreen to my left, Casey Robicheau. Casey, how are you? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Fantastic. Yeah, you got Wawa coffee, Josh. You should not be complaining.
I know. Well, my new joint, Lunchbox on 9, they had to get
it's true.
Well, they were doing great with business, but they had to get a new ventilation hood put in. And
But the amount of money you spent there, you paid for it.
I basically and they're putting a new grill in, so they'll be back open tomorrow.
Wow, Josh, you're having a tough week down there. Your liquor store catches fire and the lunchbox explodes down.
I know. It is a bad week in Waretown, I'll tell you.
And the comedian you hear now is birthday boy Scott Riggleman. Scott, how are you, sir? Happy birthday.
I'm doing good. Today is my birthday.
I know I said it before.
Happy birthday.
But you look like a unicorn with a hat on your head.
I have a beautiful party hat on.
we got
got me beautiful birthday balloons behind me you can see in the picture. Got you guys party hats on. You guys need to put your party hats on.
I know.
I broke mine.
The string popped out of mine first. It's I don't know. It's like it's like
I got to wrap around my
tampon
double
or
chin
something.
here. Oh, good God. Anyway.
Hi,
Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. That's
That's
the
a
real.
big hat. That is a big hat.
She's
There's
the real,
my favorite lady.
She's the real unicorn. We have a nice happy birthday banner, which Scott can't see, but it he'll see it when
I'll see it when I watch it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I heard that Sam did a fantastic job putting it up.
I did. Yeah. Screw you to all the haters out there. The one across from me, Josh Matthews, thinking I can't hold a damn banner up. Anyway, let's get into the race car racing this weekend.
Well, on a quick note, we're just going to say Eric Brennan not here, still on suspension following his arrest at Hot Dog Johnny's up in Buttsville.
Well, that's what happens.
That's up by me.
No. That's what happens when you have a loose nut.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, Jesus.
And that's all we're going to say on that.
Eric Brennan, we love you. Anyway, I had a really cool joke and segue going on here, but I completely forgot about it. Oh, by the way, happy belated birthday to our very own Nick Rendo. Nick Rendo's birthday was Saturday.
Now, he's home with a sore jaw, right?
Yes, he had his
Was
wisdom
he
teeth
because he was
out.
hanging out with Eric Brennan?
He was hanging out with his cousin on his 21st, so I really hope that's not the case.
Okay.
But hey, you never know. This is New Jersey, folks.
Well, if it's in the 609, I think it becomes
True. I don't think Rendo's anywhere near the 609. I have a joke, but I'm going to keep that for the after party.
that birthday, Scott.
Anyway, and a belated Happy Father's Day to all the dads. Josh, Casey, your dad. Scott, you're like my dad. Happy Father's Day. So now that all banter's over, let's get into the show. NASCAR was off. The Cup Series were off. I joked about and I bashed it last weekend for Father's Day weekend. However, they were at Iowa, the trucks and the Xfinity. Did any of you guys watch the race?
Well, here's the thing. I wanted to talk about this, but we was it 2 weeks ago, Pocono? Yeah.
Yes.
And
damn.
Well, we never really talked about Truex winning.
That's right. True.
Second win of the year, and I care more because local guy, more local to me than any of you guys. But
he's putting us on blast
Yes.
for something we can't control.
Yeah, I live in the 609, damn it. So, but I'm watching the race and I'm watching the victory lane thing, and it's all good. And my dad's like, "Is that Tyler?" And I'm like, that wouldn't surprise me too much. It's not that far away. And then that goes, and you see him walking down. So our own Tyler Truex was there. Great. But he has a connection, right? So
True.
not too surprising. And then I see in Victory Lane, and they're, Truex
You
is
can't
getting-
miss her RBF. I mean, it was really strong that day, and it's never
It was.
and it's never strong to begin with, unless I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, it's always strong.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Josh. I
was just going to say it was surprising. I'm like, I look at I'm watching, and I'm looking at the people in the back. I'm like, is that Casey? In Victory, like what? And I'm not as shocked, but at the same time, I really wasn't expecting it.
Like, who the hell let her in there?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Nobody knew that I was going to be doing that. My phone died when I was at Pocono. So when I got it turned on, even my dad was like, we saw you on TV. And I was like, yeah, surprise.
So were you just like talking to Tyler, and that's how you wandered or
So,
snuck in? Or?
Actually, in Atlantic City this year, Tyler's girlfriend, Megan, reached out to me and wanted to know if I'd wanted to be friends. And I like to be friends with everybody, as you guys know. So I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God, it's
So
another
down in
Eric
Atlantic
Brennan.
City.
I mean, I'm not saying
Down
anything.
Down in AC, I became really good friends with Megan and Tyler and the whole Truex family, really. We boarded up together down there for the whole weekend and had a blast. So ever since then, I've been really good friends with Megan, especially Megan, and then Tyler, obviously, because they come in a pair. So they were going to Pocono, and Megan had texted me and said, hey, you want to come camp out with us? And I was like, sure, why not? I got nothing else better to do. So I went there. We had a great time at the Tim Duggar concert, and then camped out.
That block party. I told you guys about that. They have the fireworks and Tim Duggar
Yes.
things. He knows a lot about NASCAR as a country singer. That block party is a great time.
The fireworks are impressive at Pocono, especially on the
It
infield
was
there.
they were beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we camped out on the infield. We had a blast. Woke up the next day, and so actually Evergreen had done a free Pocono ticket giveaway, but not everybody had claimed their tickets. So I texted the owner and I was like, hey, Jason, do you guys have any more free tickets? Me and my friends are here. We'd love to have them. And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. But while we were waiting for him to get there, our neighbors in the campground gave us 2 free pit passes. So Tyler and
wow.
Megan took that. I paid $50 for my pit pass. So we were walking around and ended up behind Martin's pit box, and security kicked everybody out. We were behind the pit box, so we stayed behind and kind of hung out there the whole time. It was a lot of fun. His whole team is so nice, super friendly. Obviously, Tyler's and Megan have both been to a few of Martin's races, so they know them by now. I fangirled super hard over Samantha Bush on pit road. I love her so much, and Megan made me go say hi. I got a picture with her and everything. Brexton yelled at me.
Get off my mommy.
No, he was more like, I was like, hi, Brexton, how are you? And I kind of touched his shoulder, and he's like, don't touch me. I was like, okay, little child.
Yeah.
And so then got a picture with her and hung out with the crew the whole time, watched the pit stops. Megan was up in the pit box, and then I got up in the pit box for the last 30 laps of the race. He won. We hauled it down to victory lane, and there was my beautiful RBF behind Martin the whole time he was getting interviewed.
I am jealous.
Not for nothing. Can you imagine being a significant other of these race car drivers, whether that be, a girlfriend, a wife, or even, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. for a time there, where you would actually like your face, we take for granted how happy all the girlfriends and wives and Ricky Stenhouse looked when in victory lane, but it's not, it's really hard. And Casey was a true reminder that RBF is a real thing.
It really is. And it was so cold that day. So the day before was hot, really, really hot. And the next day we were freezing. And I luckily had just packed a whole bunch of clothes into my Jeep and had short or long pants, but it was freezing. I had a winter jacket on, but so it was a very, very long day. Plus we were, drinking the night before. So It was a long race, but it was so awesome to participate in the victory lane celebrations with Martin and hang out with Tyler and Megan. You know, I'm really thankful for the friendship I formed with them down in AC. They're really cool people. The whole Truex family is super, super nice. And I hang out with them at Wall now almost every Saturday.
So it does pay to go to Atlantic City with a bunch of race fans.
Hey, I went down to AC with only a one-night stay, and I ended up staying the whole weekend. So I was set.
Wow. I feel played. When we all went, we got in, got out. You took me to Hooters, Josh, and we called it a day.
I also took you to Tilted Kilt.
Okay, that's true.
And
That's not in Atlantic City, folks. Not in Atlantic City.
I'll take the drive north.
Okay.
I know JJ Lane goes there a lot. You could probably hit him up.
Yeah, I think he used to go to the one in Hamilton, but that closed.
Oh, that one closed already?
Yeah.
Scott. I guess John wasn't there enough.
One in East Brunswick too, right?
East Brunswick's the one I go to because after I get my my lovely bone marrow biopsies, we stop there for lunch on the way back. Yeah, and then we get calendars and hang them on the wall next to Bob Ross calendars.
Next to the
I
birthday
think-
cake.
The Tilted Kilt in Hamilton was there before the East Brunswick one, right?
I don't know. I never even got to go to it.
You know what though? They
I've
just
never
put
been
a
to
new
a
one.
Tilted Kilt.
They just put a
It's
new one in
fun.
Bordentown too, right off of 130 there. There's one now too.
Yeah, you got me on that. You travel farther than I do.
Yeah, it's
it's-
across from the post office.
Honestly, the food is really good. Like I love their burgers there.
I've never been there.
It's good. Like,
Maybe we'll have an RPM podcast meeting there one day.
You know, it's funny. The last time we went, that's what actually happened. And I think I got ice cream because I couldn't drink.
now you can.
But now I can drink, but I'm still going to get ice cream because ice cream is so much better than alcohol. Anyway, continuing with our conversation, what is alcohol made from corn, and corn's grown in Iowa? And they raced in Iowa this weekend. The NASCAR Truck Series was at Iowa. Come on, bear with me here, folks. That was a great segue. You can't find that anywhere else but here on the RPM podcast. Go us. Brett Moffitt took the win in the number 16 truck. It was a thrilling finish between him and Noah Gragson. Noah Gragson lost. And we talked about on the show whether or not you like Noah Gragson. Casey, real quick, do you have an opinion on Noah? Do you know Noah?
I do not know
Then
Noah.
that's a solid opinion right there, folks. Noah finished second again. Harrison Burton, Jeff Burton's son, finished P3. And then our boy...
His name's Harrison?
Yeah, Harrison. Harry Burton. Good old Harry Burton.
Oh,
Like Harrison Ford, you know.
I know, that's just an odd name.
But he's a Burton. And good old M&M original driver David Gilliland finished fourth, and Johnny Sauter ran out of top five. Jesse Little, not Chase Little, Jesse Little, sixth, and our friend Justin Fontaine finished 12th. So it was a good showing for him in that number 45 truck. Justin, if you're listening,
Good job.
Yeah, solid job, my friend.
I think he got damaged in practice or something. I was watching the truck. I think he scraped the wall in practice or something. I remember that they had damage on the right rear quarter panel. But it's good that he rebounded for it and got a 12th place finish. That's good for a small team like his.
Yep. So
I wasn't able to watch any NASCAR this weekend, and I was a little busy, which we'll get into later.
Yeah, I didn't watch the truck race either because we were racing, of course, at Wall Stadium Saturday night. But I did watch the Xfinity race, which was on at a weird time. It was on late on Sunday.
It was.
And we were working on Nancy's car all day Sunday, and we watched qualifying, which is cool. It was qualifying and the race on the same day.
I love the fact they do that.
Yeah, I do too. We watched qualifying, and I'm like, man, if qualifying's not on the 3-1's a race, and I don't think the race came on till like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So by then I was done with Nancy's car, and we were in the house watching the race. So I did get to watch that race.
Well, here's the thing. A lot of times, I mean, if you go to like your local short track, they may list the features start at times something like that, but you can get in earlier and watch all the qualifying.
Correct.
And it's
for free. Or at Wall Stadium for free. I don't know about other local tracks.
Well, practice is free.
Well, you got to pay to get in.
Qualifying is not free.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
But still, I mean, you get all that.
In.
But at the same time, like when the weather's like it was today, I mean, like 90 degrees and muggy,
I like today's weather, but that's the North Carolina in me.
You weren't out.
I loved today's weather.
See, and she goes to NC State. That just shows you something. She went to NC State because she's old. Yeah. She's like 30-something.
Yeah, no. It was hot and gross, and I had swamp ass all day, and it was.
I tell you what, though, yesterday was worse than today. I thought it was hotter out yesterday.
Honestly,
I made my boss sit outside with me during my meetings today because I didn't want to be inside.
I just, Yeah, no. For me,
But I think what Sam's getting to, I think that they were saying the weather was real hot in Iowa, right? Wasn't it up to like 98 degrees?
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: does it become too much to because I've been at Dover, and it can be a long race. It can be,
Right.
and you're sitting there baking in the sun, and
Well, I know it was hot out because I follow Jesse Little on Instagram. He's a great guy, funny guy, and he goes trying to look all like thin in my new black, underwear because drivers have to wear the underwear. I guess if you don't know that, you know that now. And trust me, I'm an expert in checking drivers' underwear.
Yep, you are.
Did not go to plan. Casey, I forgot you were here. I was ready for Scott to make fun of me, not you. Anyway.
You guys should have, one time, speaking of underwear, so back when I raced, this is a really funny story. So
I think we have the show description coming up.
Yeah.
Before the season starts, you get your car inspected and they have to check all of your equipment and whatnot. And Roger Nickerson always did the legend cars. So my dad's standing right there and he's looking over my car and he starts looking at my equipment. He's like, "Can I see your underwear?" And I look at him like, "You can at least take me out to dinner first." He lost it. He had no idea what to say. My dad was standing right there and I was like, "Sorry, Dad."
That's what I love about Casey.
Yeah, underwear jokes. I thought that was a joke at me, but I appreciate that. Roger listens to the show. Hey, Roger. Speaking of weather,
Hey, Roger.
Roger's the weatherman. Anyway,
Roger will know exactly what I'm talking about because I'm sure he remembers that day.
Anyway, Justin Allgaier wins the Xfinity Iowa race. Christopher Bell second, Daniel Hemrick third, Cole Custer fourth, and Brendan Jones fifth.
I'm a big Daniel Hemrick fan.
I like Daniel.
Well, he was a legend car guy, right?
He did. I ran against him up at Legend Stock, actually, up at Bethel. He
won the big $1 million legend car race, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah. He was a fantastic legend car driver. Super, super nice kid, too. He came up to me and started talking to me a little bit about what I do, and I told him how I was an engineer, and he was like, "Well, at least you're doing something with your life." And, I mean, look at him now. So...
I don't want to go too
Casey,
far.
I know it's my birthday and we don't want to talk about my age, but you race against Daniel Hemrick. I race with Daniel Hemrick's stepfather. He used to race at Fleming Speedway. So
Unicorns don't age, Scott.
What's that?
I said unicorns don't age.
Are you referring to my party hat?
Yes.
So wait, Casey. Not to go too far off topic, but what engineering degree did you get, and what kind of engineer are you?
I got my
Drive a
degree.
train?
I've gotten that question before.
Scott.
No, I have my degree in industrial and systems engineering.
Okay.
And
can't even
I
spell
am
that.
a industrial and systems. That's why I didn't go to UNC Charlotte.
So you're more.
But anyway,
Oh.
You're more like building infrastructure, would you say?
no, I'm more of like behind the scenes type of process improvement.
Like
The
traffic
word
control
industrial
plans?
is kind of misleading.
Yeah.
I work for an LED lighting company, and I am a lean engineer. So it's very leaning out processes means, optimizing them, making them run smoother. I'm getting really nerdy right now, but
So are you talking
Yeah.
more assembly line, or are you talking implementation into the real world?
not assembly line, neither actually. So
Okay.
basically just making things like, for example, payroll, right? How do I make payroll not take 6 hours to do
Okay, I gotcha.
so that the HR people can do other stuff?
Okay, so
Like file taxes
Yeah.
or not fill out sexual harassment charges or something
Exactly. Yeah.
let's not go down that road, Sam.
like that. Anyway, I didn't watch the Xfinity race on Sunday. I tried to segue through that, but Justin Allgaier is not a sex offender. So anyway,
At least we hope not.
no, I don't think he is. I don't think he
The
is.
Xfinity race was a good race. I mean, Justin did kind of walk away with it there at the end. He did pull away, but the racing behind him was really good.
So do you think it's okay in the NASCAR world that Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s team was able just to drive away like that? Or, is that equivalent to like Dale Earnhardt Jr. winning the race? Because most people would complain that was Kyle Busch that did what Justin Allgaier did,
No,
I think.
I don't. Yeah, Justin. I mean, Justin's been to the Cup level, but he didn't really do that great. So now he's back to the Xfinity level. I think it's great that Dale Jr.'s team is there. I mean, And the other, I mean, they have Michael Annett too, and he's been struggling. So I don't think it's a Dale Jr. thing. I think Justin just did a great job. And Elliott Sadler had another bad finish. That's two weeks in a row he finished outside the top 20. So, no, I don't think.
Truex finished 12th.
Yeah. Yes, he did. He did, and Michael Annett finished 13th right behind him. Or Ryan Truex finished 14th. Justin Haley
14th?
finished 12th.
And where did Michael Annett finish? 15th, right?
13th.
So that's a Dale Jr. car.
Yeah.
Where?
13th.
13th, and that's a Dale Jr. car. So, I mean, it's not because it's a Dale Jr. car that Justin won. Justin drove a great race.
Yeah, Justin's a really smart race car driver. I think he's very underrated. He kind of reminds me of like a Regan Smith, though. Regan Smith had his age thing, going against him. He's been around the sport, for a bit. So, but Justin Allgaier is a great guy to have around, and he can drive a race car, like Scott said. So, anyway, we're gonna move on from NASCAR. Anything else y'all want to talk about? I didn't get to watch most of it because I was at Wall and I worked on Sunday.
Were any NASCAR drivers running in the 24 hours?
I don't. You know what? Let me
Can we
check.
think of any? I don't think.
I don't think they were. I know. Well, we'll get into it right now. Fernando Alonso.
I know, Josh's favorite, Kyle Larson. He was out running sprint cars out in Ohio. He won a couple out there.
Yeah.
Boring.
Don't worry, Josh. Kyle Larson says by the time he's age 40 years old, he'll be out of the Cup Series and racing the World of Outlaws. So.
Oh my God. You guys don't even know my new love for sprint cars right now.
It wasn't against sprint cars. It's against Kyle Larson.
That guy's face makes me want to punch it.
Put over him in NASCAR for another 20 years, and then he's going to go on to sprint cars. So.
That's right.
I mean,
I don't know. I just whatever.
Anyway, I'm going to save the show here. Moving forward, who was moving forward was Fernando Alonso in that Toyota car. You see what I did there? Because Toyota's slogan's moving forward, or at least it was. Anyway, what can Brown do for you, Josh? Fernando Alonso checked off the second of the Triple Crown. That's why you guys keep me around for the dad jokes.
Yeah.
He checked off the F1 because obviously Fernando Alonso is a Formula One champion. If you all didn't know that, fact check me. Bet. And then he won the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So, with that being said, McLaren and Fernando Alonso's contract ends this year. Fernando Alonso has openly said that he is willing to try other things. We saw it last year. Are we going to see Fernando Alonso field a race in IndyCar next year?
I thought that was awesome last year. I'm really, really bummed that he didn't finish that race.
Well, it's
he
funny
was running
too.
Great.
Yeah, because it's funny because McLaren's in talks of bringing an IndyCar program to the table, which would be great to see in IndyCar.
But here's the thing: is he done with McLaren? I mean, and I'm not talking about contract-wise. I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, is he physically done? Like, hey guys,
I've had enough. You guys kept promising,
right.
and you failed.
Well, you see, the problem is, I mean, obviously, for those who don't know, who are listening right now, there's Honda and Chevrolet in IndyCar, and that's it. So having McLaren in IndyCar would be fantastic, just like the talks of like Nissan or even other manufacturers joining the Cup Series. I think another manufacturer would be great for IndyCar. I don't think the resources are there yet, especially with the powerhouse teams like Honda and Chevy. We talked about on the show a few weeks ago. That's the reason why that's why there weren't so many cars trying for the Indy 500 because of motor rules and building and stuff like that the manufacturers weren't able to put out as much. He was also in a great car last year with Andretti Motorsports. I mean, considering his teammate won the race, Takuma Sato. So I just overall I thought it was a good race. The 24 Hours Le Mans, Toyota won, which I don't mind seeing. I mean, they dump so much money into motorsports to begin with. I mean, why not? Did any of you guys get to watch 24 Hours Le Mans?
No.
I was a little busy.
And we'll get into that in about 2 seconds.
I normally never miss it, and same thing. I got so wrapped up and busy, it was just insane. I couldn't get 5 minutes of the TV this week.
Really?
Yeah.
I drove home from Wall, and I had to be at work early on Sunday, and Eric Graham, who's probably listening to the show, hi, cousin, he told me to go home and listen to it, and I did, and I fell asleep. Because and Eric's right. For any of those who want to watch a 24-hour race or a longer race, sunrise is probably one of the best parts to watch in the race because of the challenges the drivers have to react to with the sun rising and the track changing and stuff like that. It's cool stuff. I know it sounds really boring right now, but check it out. A big on the Yeah. On the Le Mans Prototype 2 class, the G Racing number 26, who was driven by Roman Roshanov. This is where Eric Brown would have been useful with the names. Yeah. They lapped the entire competition by 2 laps. The car got, or the team got DQ'd because of,
Say it.
I'm reading here.
Okay.
And, they were trying to have an advantage.
Way to be prepared, Sam.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long day, Casey. That they had an illegal advantage with the pit stops. If trying to read here, should have read this beforehand.
So then technically, if they lapped the whole field twice and they got DQ'd, does that mean the race was 2 laps short of the actual distance?
I'm not sure, but I was going to say, I think I know what Sam was talking about. Are you talking about the guy who...
It says here that that part of the fuel restrictor was not compliant with the rule book.
Oh, okay. There was another car that had basically it broke down.
It done broke.
Yeah, it done broke. Ron. And then
Jay Quillen.
I'm done.
But the rule is you can't have anybody push your car back. The driver's the only one that can get the car back to the pits.
Oh, right.
And he sat there and got a toolkit out and was working on the car behind one of the walls for I don't know a half hour or so. Finally gets it going, sputtering or whatever, and then it broke again. So I was trying to limp it back to the pits. And
we have similar rules like that. Yeah, these hats aren't working.
No.
Oh, you got it.
I tied it.
We have similar rules like that with the WK, with the carts and stuff like that. So maybe that's what it was. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't watch it and I didn't do homework for you guys. I'll take the blame on that one.
We sucked this week. I apologize.
That's okay, but we have a strong local summit coming up. We got Casey Robicheau, Miss Evergreen here, birthday boy Scott Riggleman, producer Josh Matthews, and Sam Ballard here. I think that wraps up the national stuff. Did we forget anything? Did y'all want to talk about anything else before we get into local stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the Cup's going where out to Sonoma.
Sonoma, that's right. Thank you, Scott.
I see there's a couple road race guys on the entry list. One being Josh's favorite team, of course, Starcom. They have a road racer in their car this weekend.
Are you saying Derek Cope, can't handle the job?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they have a funded, with sponsor road racer for Sonoma. They're only taking 1 car out to Sonoma.
Bringing in a ringer.
And bringing in a ringer. And then I know the 51 car also has a road race guy, Chris Cook, which I think was a tire changer or something in NASCAR. And he also does road racing. He gets in the car every once in a while for the road races. Do you guys like the Sonoma road race? Or
I love it.
I think it's good. Sorry,
I love
I'm
it.
Choking on my Red Bull.
That's okay. I love it. I think. Growing up, Cadillac Sam was not and still not a big fan of road course racing. He thinks that it's too complicated. Not that it's too complicated, but stock cars aren't designed for that. They're designed for circle racing.
But I think that's the point.
Right.
I mean, factory stocks are not designed to go in or race the way we do. And I think part of what makes them fun is that they're so terrible.
Look at the finishes we had with Marcus Ambrose, running out of gas. Cutting the car off, going back, was it 8 years ago already? 7 years ago? And losing the race. The finish with Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart, for those who remember 2 years ago, or was it 3 years ago? 2 years ago. I mean, it was just some great overall racing. Watkins Glen, Martin Truex, Marcus Ambrose and Brad Keselowski, man. I mean, just some great racing.
Well, didn't Kyle Busch get taken out at Watkins Glen?
He did.
Towards the end.
Yes.
There's been a lot of actually really exciting finishes at the road courses.
Yes. So, as we say on the RPM podcast, more short tracks, more road course races for the Cup guys. That fix all their issues, especially with
rain races.
Yeah, can you imagine a rain race at like Circuit de America, the Circuit of the Americas?
Wow. I
mean, granted, that track is huge. That track would kill the stock cars.
I'd like to see a snow race there. I know it's basically impossible, but imagine them trying to
get
traction going up the big hill.
I got you, Josh. A snow race at Thompson.
Ooh. Terrifying. Terrifying.
They'd be like, where the hell is the track? There's nothing but snow here. Talk about an icebreaker.
Oh,
yeah.
Womp womp.
But yes, the Cup guys are over at Sonoma, or Infineon for those who are older crowd.
I would say we forgot to mention.
What about IndyCars? IndyCars racing this weekend?
Yes. Give me a second. What's that, Josh?
I would say we forgot to talk about NHRA, which I mean they had some stuff going on this weekend.
They were at Bristol, aren't they?
Yes, they were. Dude, there was some good racing. There was some good close stuff. I mean, you had the usual stuff, a cylinder out, somebody just smoking the tires. But I mean, it was actually a lot of fun to watch. And it seems to be like a thing, especially if my wife is watching any of it. When they get to the Top Fuel Harleys, they break. They don't go. Like they sputter or something goes wrong. And watching, I think they had probably 8 or 10 Top Fuel Harleys going.
Yeah.
And I want to say all but maybe one of the runs, a bike, somebody got out of control or something failed and they kind of just sputtered down. And my wife's like, can they just have one good race where they both actually go down the damn track?
Josh, we're always talking about how to spice up NASCAR weekends. Do you think it would be cool at Bristol if they had the NHRA there, like say on the same weekend, like maybe, in the spring race when they have it Bristol on Sunday? You think it'd be cool if the NHRA was there on Saturday night?
There's two problems.
I know people camp on the drag strip. That's one of the problems I could see.
That's not a problem.
The speed bumps.
Yeah.
Hey,
just kidding. I am just kidding.
No, you're not. So
Darwinism, man.
By the way, Casey, I know you've been out going to a lot of different racetracks. I tell you what, me and Nancy on a whim one year, we went to Bristol for the night race and camped. What a great time. I mean, You just said you enjoyed the Pocono weekend camping in the infield.
Yeah.
Times that by 20, and that's Bristol. Bristol is unbelievable, the camping down there.
Megan and Tyler were telling me about their trip out to Talladega last year and the camping out there. They said it was
Talladega is supposed to be off
nuts.
The wall, too.
It was absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
So
I was just going to say that you have the sort of the crowd issue. I don't know how you would cross entice, especially to get a lot of the NASCAR fans down to watch the drag racing.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was like nobody in the stands for this. I mean, and it wasn't like
I think drag racing's dying.
But here's the thing: if you went to Englishtown, it was packed.
Oh, I went to Englishtown every year.
Yeah,
every year.
Wasn't it always like jam packed in the stands? Like ridiculous.
Yeah, there were tons of people.
Here you are in Bristol, a name that's big in racing, in multiple genres, we'll call it, and there were like 10 people in the stands. Why? I mean, and it was good racing too. Like, what was it? Miserable weather?
Was it the week that John Force wrecked again? Or was it 2 weeks ago?
I want to say the wreck was 2 weeks ago, and this week he like blew up or not blew up. But he was out earlier in qualifying, or was it semifinal? No, I forget which round it was. But yeah, he was out earlier. Then his daughter went and did a lot better. But I don't know if he's just getting old or he doesn't talk like he's getting old.
No, I mean he had this bad luck ever since he switched to the bow tie, though.
Okay,
not gonna lie.
I don't know. I'm not sure it matters.
Granted, it's probably all the same anyway. But
when they're rebuilding their motor between every run anyway.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it matters, the power plant thing. I mean, it's just about how much money they give them for new rings and bearings and stuff.
Speaking of bow tie, this is a little bit off the NHRA thing, but local guy kind of, Andy J. If anybody has seen his custom fire suit that he got done, I would suggest you go check it out because it is quite possibly the sickest fire suit I've ever seen. Okay. It's like a tuxedo with a bow tie. It looks really cool.
Wait, would you say it was kind of like Truex's auto owners insurance? How that's like a suit?
I didn't see that one, but I know Angie J posted it on Facebook,
talking about,
and I was
right?
like, wow.
I do. It's classy.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I can't believe we're talking about the weather and driver suits on the RPM podcast. But,
it was a slow week.
Yeah. What do you want from us?
And underwear.
I don't know if Andy J listens, but if he does, your fire suit is
of course he listens.
Legit.
We talked about Casey's
really
underwear
cool.
on the RPM podcast, which is different than Eric Brennan's. But I don't think he wears underwear.
Oh.
Was Eric Brennan at the racetrack Saturday or no?
He was not.
No, he was not.
So, With that, we are not going to blue ball our listeners any longer. On the other side of the break, we will talk about the local segment. We have Miss Evergreen here, birthday boy Scott Riggleman, producer Josh Matthews, Sam Bauer Jr. here. We're going to bring in some Evergreen, some Wall Stadium. We're going to talk about where Casey's going.
We're going to get deep here, guys.
Did you get a response yet, Josh?
No, I did, and it's a no.
Okay, all right. Well, Ted Grow, maybe next week. But with that, on the other side of the RPM podcast, we'll see you on the flip side.
Hey everyone, this is Eric Brennan from the RPM Podcast. If you're looking for a dependable full auto repair and preventative maintenance center, then you need to check out O'Shea's Auto Repair in Wall, New Jersey. The family man himself, Tim O'Shea, has been providing the highest quality of automotive repair since 2000 on both domestic and imported cars, trucks, and SUVs. From race cars to street cars, O'Shea's Auto Repair covers it all. For more information, visit their website at o'sheasautorepair.com. O'Shea's Auto Repair, supporter of the RPM Podcast and proud sponsor of the O'Shea Auto Repair Factory Stops at Wall Stadium Speedway.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Hey, yeah. Hey.
Hey, girl, hey.
Yeah. Straw.
Hey.
Welcome back to
That's
the RPM
the last
podcast.
straw.
That's the last.
Get yourself a new host. I'm done. Done with this bullshit. Anyway, welcome back to the 102nd episode of the RPM podcast. Listen, I got people who I actually care what they think about me listening to this show now.
Hay is for
You're gonna get phone
horses
calls.
and cows.
Yeah, I realized I made fun of Southerners on past episodes of the RPM podcast, and that really wasn't a good idea. Now I'm going to school in North Carolina. But that's besides the point. Welcome back to the RPM podcast. Sam Bauer, Josh Matthews, Miss Evergreen herself, Casey Robicheau, and the birthday boy, Scott Riggleman.
Just to fill you guys in, we always have debates on here. We talked about cashews for a while. During the break, where Josh said he had us fix a hay loft at his father's house. They own a farm over in Toms River. I asked him, is it for hay or straw? You know, some people don't know the difference between hay and straw. Josh, can you explain the difference to us?
What most people think of as a hay bale, like for Halloween, is actually straw. It's like hollow,
Right.
small hollow tubes. Whereas hay is basically grass, like
Right.
really tall grass. And you can mix it with like clover and alfalfa and things like that. But yeah, but I actually had a friend. You know, she wanted a hay bale for Halloween, and I brought over an actual hay bale. And she's like, "What
She
is
didn't like
that?"
it.
Yeah, she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "That's a hay bale." She's like, "No, it's not." But
It pisses me off too, because there's times you're somewhere at a farm or something, everybody's like, "Oh, go sit over there on the hay bale." I'm like, "That's not hay, it's straw." You guys know. Straw's for like the bedding of the animals, right? They all sleep in it and stuff like that.
you can
And
use
the
it for a
hay
bunch of
food,
things.
you know?
I thought they were banning straws in like cities and stuff. The straws you drink out of,
Why?
Oh, jeez.
because they were trying to save the environment.
How is
we're
that
talking
going
a different type of straw.
get rid of coffee stirrers? Or
First of all, if you have
something.
to stir your coffee because you put sugar in it, we're no longer friends.
Hazelnut and
Yeah, you're
yeah,
Josh Achino.
yeah. Well,
That's the
if you
PG
get-
version because we got to be clean because Tim's kids listen. Anyway,
They're little Kyle Busch fans, so I like them.
yeah, we all make mistakes, I guess.
Yeah, like going to US.
I'm getting hated on everywhere, including the RPM podcast.
You know what? I wish Casey had like an RPM podcast sticker to give Samantha Bush or something.
Bush.
Oh my god, that would have been so cool. Except I probably would have been too scared. I was literally almost too scared to say
Well,
hi.
Brexon yelled at you. I mean,
you
you got
should've-
yelled at
He
by like
really
a
did.
2-year-old.
Did you do like when you took the picture with her? Did you do like your arms like across each other's back kind of photo, or did you stand next to each other?
No, I don't. Hold on. I don't remember. It's on my Facebook.
I was saying
and
you should have done that and
Me-
slapped
me-
a sticker
me
on her
and
back.
Nancy also-
I
me and
think
Nancy
I
also
literally.
met.
She actually had a black and white outfit on, so it probably would have matched.
Oh, that's great. We would have
Yeah,
been.
Nancy and I, we also met Samantha Bush down in Daytona. She's very approachable, very, very friendly.
She's a sweetheart, and like she's total like mom goals, wife goals, fitness
Yeah.
goals. She is goals.
I,
Period.
I thought she was more the type to. Well, going by her Twitter rants, I figured she would have thrown her phone out on the track or something.
You know, it's funny. Growing up, when I pretended to be a race car driver in my own mind, I always wanted a Kim Burton in my life because Kim Burton always got mad when Jeff wrecked.
Yeah.
And
she's the same way watching Harrison. I mean,
it's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Casey doesn't like Harrison's name, but
it's fantastic.
Harrison is Kim Burton's son, and she acts the same way that she did when she watched her husband Jeff Burton race.
That's life goals right there. Like, I want my lady to get mad when I wreck. But anyway. Oh, never mind. I have a joke, but I have to behave.
Anyway, so let's go into the local stuff here.
Before we have no podcast.
And we're going to start with Evergreen.
Evergreen had a great weekend. They had modifieds, tour-type modifieds. They had a good turnout too, right, Casey? 24, 25 cars?
25. Yep, we had 25 tour mods show up. And there was a little bit of drama during the heat races, so they just decided.
What did Hartwig do now?
Hartwig is not there.
Okay.
One of the heat races got miscounted. They only ran 9 laps instead of 10. So some of the drivers were crying about it. So Jason decided, all right, we're going to start them all. The track took a $1,500 hit because they were paying at the bottom of the pay scale is about $300 per position to take the green. So they took.
I'm a fan of that too. When I was growing up, a starting field on a short track was always 24 cars. And lately, they've been cutting back to 20. You got 24, 25 cars show up. You're only running 7 modified races this year for the season. Just start them all. They're going to buy tires from you. If you send 2 or 3 cars home, they're not going to come back. So start them all. Let's race.
Yeah.
I'm glad they did that.
Jason, actually, some local wall guys were there. Jason Hearn being one of them. And during this whole drama fest, he just was like, why don't we just put our helmets on and race? And I was like, yes, Jason. Yes. Race car drivers are too dramatic right now. Just put your helmets on and race. Let's go.
I agree 100%. Because we've had last Turkey Derby, I know we had to send a few cars home, and a few Turkey Derbies ago.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Josh. You do have to draw a line somewhere. You don't want 33 modifieds out there.
Yeah, but we started 36 factory stocks one night.
Well, that's fine. That's fine.
I remember one year at Turkey Derby, they started 29 legend cars.
Yeah.
That was a hot mess.
And exactly. Sometimes it turns into a wreck fest because you start too many, but I don't think 24 is too many at a racetrack like Evergreen. I think it's a perfect number. You start getting up 28, 30 cars, then you got to start cutting some cars. You know what I'm saying? If you have 24, 25 cars show up there, start them all. Let's race.
Yeah, I believe I know what you are saying.
Cars there.
But it was a good race. Someone had a live feed on Facebook. I watched it on that. Matt Hirschman,
I had that.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
What a coincidence.
Now we know. Matt Hirschman, what a show he put on. He just laid back and saved his tires. He was almost going a lap down at one point in the race, and then he just charged back through and won the race. The guy's amazing.
I like Matt Hirschman.
Ricky Collins actually almost put him a lap down. Ricky Collins had a really strong car the beginning of the race.
I don't like Ricky Collins.
He led Did you say you don't like Ricky?
But there again, there was 2 strategies where Ricky started up front and went for it.
Protests are awesome when you're a race director.
Where Ricky went for it because he was starting up front, so he's not going to fall back to the back, and he went for it, and where Matt was starting in the back, so he just laid back and saved the stuff for the end.
Yeah, he almost got lapped, and I was like, there's no way Matt Hirschman is, and I said to somebody standing next to me, I was like, wow, he looks like crap. Like, what's wrong? Like, I thought something was honestly wrong with his car, and then 20 laps to go, he just started creeping his way up. Next thing I know, I look up, I'm like, oh my God, Matt Hirschman is 9th. And then the next caution, oh, Matt Hirschman is 4th? Oh, okay. And then took the lead and never looked back.
You know what's crazy? Like, he keeps doing it that way. He wins a lot of long distance races by doing that. You figure by now some other people would catch on. You would
think it'd be like, oh wow, look what he's doing. But you know what? It also comes down to he just has pure talent.
Right.
Not everybody could do that.
He doesn't have to worry about when it's time for him to go. He knows he can pass 20 cars. But other people in the back of their mind be like, you know what? In 20 laps, I'm not passing 20 cars. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
How was the crowd out there?
How was the crowd there, Casey?
It was packed. It was jam-packed. The only thing that sucks about Evergreen, I love the racetrack. I love being Miss Evergreen. But the only thing that
I hear
really
somebody calling for an animal, it sounds like.
Yeah, hold on. Hey, Andrea, can you either
It's better than
Blew the dogs out.
It's not as bad as Sam's fire drill.
She's talking to my cat. I don't know.
So
but,
is she a crazy cat lady?
Yeah, kind of. My parents have 2 cats. I have 1. But my cat acts more like a dog. But hold on. Now we got it going on.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, you know what? Let's keep the theme going.
Me first.
You want it first, Sam?
Well, you have the hat on.
Yeah, they got a crown down there too. See, you're not the only one with that crown.
This is my backup crown, so it's not as pretty as my
official.
Miss Evergreen.
Not as pretty
crown.
as my diva crown.
Yeah.
I actually forgot my crown at my parents' house, and I was at work, and I work right by the Palisades Mall, so I ran down to the Palisades Mall and bought this one at Claire's.
She went to Claire's.
Claire! Oh, yes! Claire!
But the only, like I was saying, the only thing that is bad about Evergreen is they start at 8 o'clock with heat races, and they have a 12 o'clock curfew.
Okay.
Well, that's normal for a Friday night show because, I mean, Big Diamond's the same way. They don't start at 8 o'clock, too. They got to give people time to get off of work and get over to the racetrack and stuff like that. But
yeah,
you're right, it does feel like you start getting rushed after a while.
Big Diamond usually only runs about 3 shows, though. And this week they had the street stock race, the 75-lap tour modified race. They had the 4-cylinder race, and then they had the duct tape 50 for the factory stock.
Yeah, which got cut to 25 laps, right?
Yeah, because of the curfew. Right. So that's the only bad thing. I mean, I love it there. I'm having a blast. But because of the curfew, we actually didn't get to do Matt Hirschman's Victory Lane.
Well, they do the same thing at Big Diamond too. If the show starts running late, what they do is they skip the victory lane after the race, but then when all the races are over, they bring the cars back out on the track and you do your.
And that's what they were gonna do, but Matt had already packed up. I guess he's got. I don't know where he's from.
Yeah, some people rather get out of there an hour earlier than stick around to get their picture.
So I immediately got on Facebook and messaged him and was like, "Hi, I'm Miss Evergreen, and I want a picture with you. So can we make that work?"
Don't worry, Casey. He will win again, and you'll get your chance to take pictures with him. By the end of the season, you might even be sick of taking pictures with Matt Hirschman by the end of the season. So
he was like, "I hope to be back in 2018." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sure you will be," but.
Yeah.
No, but it was a lot of fun. Good tour mod race. Like I said, there was a bunch of wall guys out there. We had, like we said, Ricky. We had Jason. Jonathan Mendato was out there. Blake Barney. Actually, I took a picture with Blake. Me and Blake are good friends too, and put it on like one of the posts that I do from Evergreen. And it was just one picture on the post, and my picture with Blake got more likes individually than the actual post did. And I was like, thanks, Blake.
and I'm part of the reason Blake Barney was actually made it to Evergreen. Blake ran Thompson on Thursday night, and Friday morning at like 7:30 in the morning, he's calling me. I'm like, Blake, what's the matter? He's like, oh, my car just broke down on the way to school. And I went, the ball joint broke. He actually lost his right front tire on the way to school, so I rushed over there and got him loaded up.
So you can tell where all the money's going.
There's a joke in there, but I'm not going to say it.
Well, no, there's a whole story behind it. But anyway, I get over there, the ball joint's broke. We get the car loaded up. I said, Blake, what time did you get home from Thompson Speedway last night? He's like, we got home at 3 a.m. Here it is, 7:30 in the morning. The kid's already on his way to high school, you know. We're literally like, we could see the high school from where we're at. And I'm like, Blake, I'll drop you off at school. Oh, no, my car broke down on the way to school. Just take me to my grandfather's shop, you know? He never went to school. I'm like, Blake, we're here, man. He's like, well, I want to get my car fixed, and we're going to leave for Evergreen. So, you know, he had to get going for Evergreen, you know?
Yeah, he's about to graduate soon, I think.
No, he's not going to keep skipping school. He ain't. Come on, Blake.
How many days are you allowed to miss?
School, and I even saw his mom Saturday at the racetrack. I'm like, you know, Blake could have walked to school. She's like, I know. He was right there, wasn't he? Blake was right there.
You threw him under the bus.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was waiting for them to find out because of the podcast.
You know, not for nothing. Darlene probably listens to the show, or this probably get back to Darlene somehow or another. I would not want to mess with her. I mean, I think I'm on her good side.
Strict.
I would not.
Man, this stuff stinks.
I would not want to mess with Darlene.
Well, by saying that Darlene is a tough mother, I mean, here you go. He's getting home 3 o'clock in the morning from racing a tour race at Thompson, but he has to be at school on Friday morning. So he was on his way.
Oh man.
Anyway, so
moving on.
Was Evergreen more than you can ask for, Casey and Scott? Were you guys happy with it? More Casey than Scott?
I was happy to see them have a good crowd. That track really deserves. They're trying hard up there, and like many other short tracks, they got killed with the weather at the beginning of the year. So for them to have a good crowd and a good race, I was glad to see that for them.
Yeah, speaking of the weather, this was only my technically second appearance there because we kept getting rained out. No, I'm having a really good time. Everything I could have asked for, absolutely. All the drivers that I'm meeting there, they're all super nice. They all want pictures with me, which is great. And I got to do the Victory Lane interview for the street stock driver, Rich Picotti. And I talk to him every week now, and I actually had seen him in the pits right before his race. And I was like, am I going to see you in Victory Lane tonight? And he's like, I sure hope so. And he definitely was there.
I heard that was a real good race too, the street stock race. I heard
always is.
To the last lap.
Yeah, the last lap, the number 51, I can't remember his name. I'm a terrible Miss Evergreen. But he was really giving Rich a run for his money. Another young kid up there, Brock Brown, he's only 15, but he's kicking some serious butt up at the street stocks. He's won 2 races up there. I got a picture with him last week in Victory Lane. So the street stocks up there are really, really nice. And Joey Hellberg won the factory stock race.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
Good old
awesome.
Joey.
Yeah,
Yep.
and his girlfriend was messaging or posting on our page earlier.
Yeah,
trying to get Darian McLaren.
They keep changing Facebook up, and I don't know if I'm replying to these people or just liking their stuff or just blatantly ignoring them. So if you're following us on Facebook and you want to see stuff and we're not showing it, I'm sorry.
There was a good crowd at Evergreen, and it was a 75-lap modified tour race. Do you have any idea how much it was to get in to the racetrack?
I want to say maybe like $18.
Yeah, I think I read
maybe
15.
15.
Yeah,
I'm not. 15. I get in for free.
Yeah, I understand that. That's what I was
Perks of having the crowd.
Yeah, I understand that, but I was just wondering maybe.
I'm not 100% sure. I did know for Father's Day they were doing a discounted admission.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. I can look it up.
Yeah,
but I mean that's
a computer.
That's still a good price for the show you're
getting.
It is.
It really is for a 75 modified tour race.
I'd be there for the factory stock race, honestly, just because you're going to get more of that fender rubbing, and that's what I like about.
Josh is a modified fan.
Joey kind of killed the race. He I think won by like a whole straightaway or something. He really did great. The real race in the factory stocks was between Brian O'Shea and a girl named Stephanie that runs up there. They were running Stephanie Moyer. They were running side by side every single lap until a lap car actually kind of screwed Stephanie over, and Brian was able to get by with his entire bumper ripped off because he was in a lap 1 incident. But
yeah, I watched Brian's video, and there wasn't many factory stock cars there, and 2 of them got wrecked.
5, 7, I think.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean,
unfortunately, trying to get more Wall factory stock guys. Scott,
I would love to go out there, but I already dedicated myself to this dirt schedule. Another problem with bringing a Wall factory stock up to Evergreen is that they're a little more superior than us. I know Joey's kicking butt up there, but he changed his car over for there. And Brian O'Shea also has a separate car that he brings up there. They run
Brian
a
O'Shea's
21.
all fancy with 2 cars.
Yeah, they run a 2101 aluminum intake, which is a big help. We have a strict cam rule down here. They don't have a strict cam rule up there. The other big advantage those cars have over us is they only have to be 3,000 pounds. We have to be 3,300 pounds. So that kind of hurts us there. They also run a locked rear. We run an open rear. They run better. They run a 790 Hoosier.
You're complaining too much. Just put your helmet on and race.
Yeah, shut the hell up, Scott.
I do understand that, but there is a difference between our cars. But yeah, we could go right up there the way we are. They did invite us up. We can run our tires. We can come up to totally Wall Eagle and do the best.
Trust me, I've been trying with some people.
I tell you what, if I didn't have these dirt cars and I haven't been running Big Diamond, Grandview, and Bridgeport other than Wall Stadium, I would definitely do it. Yeah, I love Evergreen. I grew up there as a kid. My dad used to race there on Sundays. We would run Wall on Saturday night with my father and then keep the car loaded right up from Wall, wake up early Sunday morning and drive straight up there. I love the track. I won a championship there in 2013 in the Enduro Series. It's great. I do like it, and it's always in the back of my mind. I did see that 50 lapper. I'm kind of glad I didn't go now because they cut it back to 25.
Yep.
But I would have enjoyed it. I have been to a few of the King of the Mountains with my car and had some fun with that. So I love Evergreen. I'm glad to see Jason doing well with the track.
So
yep. The next tour mod race is July 13th, and I don't know if he listens. Maybe he does. I've been trying to get in touch with Ryan Priest. I've been trying to get in touch with Ryan Priest, maybe see if he could come out and see if he can beat Matt Hirschman.
And see, there you go, July 13th. I'm already scheduled to race.
That's that guy.
So, yeah.
I don't even know if the factory stocks are running that night.
Right.
So
I mean,
you're not invited anyway.
Oof.
I just
birthday boy bashing.
I mean, I love Evergreen. I love to go up there, but I took on this dirt deal, so that's kind of been keeping me away from there.
So Casey, where else were you this weekend?
Woo! Okay, so this was probably my most busy week. Okay, let me take this crown off now that we're done talking about Evergreen. My most busy week of racing. I did 4 nights in a row. So Thursday night, I was out at Grandview for my first time out in, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Bechtelsville, something, Pennsylvania. Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania, up at Grandview for my first time. So the Indiana boys for the USAC National Series are in town for Eastern Storm. So they were running 6 nights of racing starting at Grandview on Thursday. So I went out there, had tons of fun, hung out with all of the girls from Motorsports again. I became really, really good friends with Taylor Albert, which I'm very blessed for her friendship. I love her to death. So hung out with her, got to watch from up in the tower because she's a super VIP everywhere she goes. So got to watch that from up in the tower, which was really cool. Then I was at Evergreen, Wall Stadium, obviously Saturday. I try to make it to a Wall every Saturday night if I can. And then this past Sunday, I was out at BAPS Motor Speedway.
Which is formerly Susquehanna?
Formerly Susquehanna. They call it Bapski.
Bapski.
So,
that's funny. I never heard that before. That's good.
That's
because I guess they shortened Susquehanna to Susky. So now nobody some people call it BAPS, some people call it Susky, so some people call it Bapski.
Does BAPS stand for something?
Yeah, BAPS is actually a business that is sponsored.
Sponsor.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a sponsor.
So I thought it was does BAP was it an acronym or was it just
no? It's
okay.
I almost want to say it's like automotive paint or something like that.
Okay.
Or automotive repair or something to deal with automotive.
The auto industry.
Oh, it's working out really well because we're guessing at what it means.
Yeah. So
yeah, but you know what? We're talking about it. We're talking about it. So I mean, yeah, it's Susky Speedway, but they got a spot. I think it's a 5-year deal they got for a sponsorship, and it's called BAPS Motor Speedway now.
So Casey. Referring to Grandview, you said it was your first time out there, and
great track by far.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say the show. By far my favorite dirt track.
Wait, what is your opinion, or when you first see it? Because I think I think it's a cool track, but it's kind of a weird track. I
was surprised at how banked it was.
Right,
it's like Wall Stadium.
Yeah,
that was my first impression of it.
Well, I was talking to Miss Motorsports Leslie Donegan about going up there because I haven't seen her basically all season, and she was telling me, make sure you get there early, it's going to be packed. And I was like, yeah, whatever, Leslie, I'll get there early. She was not kidding. When I got there, and I got there pretty early because I actually worked from home. I told my boss that I had stuff to do around the apartment and I wanted to work from home, but really I wanted to leave to get to Grandview.
Oh, wow.
So I got there pretty early, and it was packed. There were tons of people everywhere. I ended up parking on the side luckily I have a Jeep, so I parked on the side of the road in this ditch with these rocks. My Jeep was all sideways and crooked. And
the parking lot there isn't that big, and the other thing that they do in the parking lot, the whole one side of the parking lot, you're allowed to bring your camper there and leave it there all year. So it's like a mini campground almost, and that takes up a lot of the parking there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's on this giant hill.
Yep,
right.
I don't have to go to the gym for 2 weeks because I walked up and down that hill so many times. My calves were on fire.
Why are you complaining? You're at a racetrack.
Yeah.
Oh, that was before I got into the racetrack. I was complaining.
Oh.
Then I got there and walking around, I saw Warren, our own Warren from Wall Stadium. He's the official USAC flagger. Him and Nicole Flood. So I'm really good friends with Nicole as well.
Hi, Warren.
So.
And Nicole.
Hi, Warren. Hi, Nicole. But hung out with them for a while, and then I went to go check out the track, and I was just like, wow, I didn't. Because I've been to Big Diamond, I've been to Accord up in New York this year, I've been to Bridgeport, and they're not as banked. I looked at Grandview, and I was like, wow, this is literally. I felt like it was Wall Stadium, just with dirt on it.
The dirt Wall Stadium, and when I raced the Enduros there, by the time the Enduro races come, we were on 100 laps. By the time you get towards like lap 80, it gets so hard. It feels like I'm racing Wall Stadium.
Yeah, I don't like the exit of the track because it's like you have to go like up this hill and then they come straight into the pit area. It's a little bit dangerous.
So like they're gonna Dukes of Hazzard it out into the onto their trailer.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like. But no, I thought it was a really good track. I had, like I said, a great view up in the tower. Taylor and I even went up to like above the announcing stand where they video from, and we got to stand up there and take some selfies together from up on there. But no, I had a really good time at Grandview. I'll definitely have to be back. One of my good friends, Drew, who I used to race Legends with up at Evergreen, Drew Weiser, he races his late model out there, and he's invited me to come watch him race sometimes. So I'll probably go back to Grandview.
That's the only thing I don't like about Grandview. They run sprint cars there, modifieds, and late models, but they don't have like a street stock division there. I wish they did. I wish they had like a road runner or
Would you be there? Would you be there, Scott?
I'd probably be there because you know what? Grandview's not that far. Grandview's 100 miles from my house, which isn't bad at all. If they had a street stock division or a road runner division like Big Diamond has, I would think about racing on there. Plus, they race on Saturday nights. So
yeah.
I love Grandview.
It took me about an hour and 36 minutes. The GPS said that. It didn't take me that long, but that's how the GPS told me.
Grandview is also a NASCAR sanctioned track, which is pretty cool.
I was about to say, I think Grandview and Eldora probably like.
Eldora?
Eldora, whatever. Eldora. Anyway,
Eldora.
Speaking of USAC, we missed it, or I missed it because I'm a crappy host here on the RPM podcast, but USAC is looking at bringing dirt to Indianapolis Motor Speedway ahead of the Brickyard weekend, and the upcoming.
They're not even looking; they're doing it.
Well,
they're doing it.
They're looking at doing it next year. They're doing it next year. They're physically seeing that it's going to get done for next year. So hopefully, Warren and Nicole are busy with them. That'd be a pretty cool weekend.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they travel out there. Or if they just do, right? I think they just do the Eastern Storm.
Oh, I also see that Morgan Rochelle. She was like the Miss USAC Eastern.
Yes,
Coast or something like that.
She's Miss USAC East Coast this year. I competed with her at Motorsports. I love her too. I met up with her at Action Track just a few weeks ago, talking to her about motorsports and the Miss USAC East Coast. She's having a blast. She loves doing that too. So it's a lot of fun being a trophy girl. You should try it.
Sam will do his best.
I have to shave. Anyway.
I don't put the bikini on. I mean,
Morgan, Casey, last weekend when I went, not last weekend, but the weekend before when I ran at Wall Stadium, there was a girl there.
Yeah, that's my friend Carly. So Carly Hendrickson. She is Miss Racing Extravaganza 2018. So that's a different pageant that's held out in York, Pennsylvania.
Do you know why she was at Wall Stadium or how she ended up at Wall Stadium?
Well, I'm good friends with her. I've invited her a few times out to Wall. She's trying to expand the Miss Racing Extravaganza name and pageant out beyond dirt tracks, and she's doing a great job. You think I've been to a lot of tracks? I've been to 13 tracks this season.
She was good. She was good in Victory Lane. She was good to talk to. She came and got her picture taken with me and everything.
Yeah, that girl is on fire. She's been to so many racetracks.
I even sent Casey a picture of me and that girl in Victory Lane. I told Casey I felt like I was cheating on Casey getting my picture taken in Victory Lane.
Yeah.
With somebody else.
Carly's a super sweet girl. I introduced her to a lot of people. She, hung out with me, Megan, and Tyler a lot that day. But she's really awesome. I met her at Bridgeport when I first went down there in the beginning of the season. And then I actually traveled out to Port Royal, way out past Harrisburg to go hang out with her as well. She's doing a great job representing the Miss Racing Extravaganza pageant. I know she's up at Weed Sport tonight, and I think she possibly is going out to Indiana Sprint Week for a little bit. So she's...
Casey just mentioned a racetrack called Port Royal. I'm going to let you guys in a little secret. If you look at the Port Royal Speedway logo and the Riggleman Towing logo, they might look similar.
No, Jesus.
That might be our next.
He got my fancy going because I like logos.
For some reason, they might look a little like, just put it out there.
For some reason?
Yeah, for some reason.
Port Royal was a really fun track. They called
I've never been there. What event did you go watch there? Was that a sprint car race?
Jesus,
yes,
Scott.
Do they look a little alike?
Yeah.
So when I went out,
I can't believe that racetrack copied my logo. I just can't believe it.
when I went out there, it was a 410 sprint car race. There were 305s and there were late models as well. Port Royal is a haul from where I live. It was about 3.5 hours one way. And I left pretty late because Carly texted me and was like, come to Port Royal. And I was like, all right. And I hit a lot of traffic. And by the time I got there, Dave Blaney had actually won that night, and which was cool because Ryan Blaney won the next day.
Right.
But,
we talked about it on the show.
Yeah. So when I got to Port Royal, Dave Blaney was just pulling into victory lane. So I missed the entire 410 sprint car race. As I'm driving, so Port Royal, since you guys have never been there, it is literally this big dirt track in the middle of a small town. And I mean in the direct middle of town. And I'm driving around the track trying to find the entrance to the pits. And I can see the sprint cars driving down the backstretch. And I'm like, damn, I'm going to miss this whole race. And sure enough, I did.
So anyway.
So then I got to see the 305s where this kid, Nick, Nitro Nick, I've met him in the pit area afterwards. He led every single lap until turn 4 coming to the checkered. He spun himself out.
Oh, that's
we're
such a sickening feeling.
We're gonna keep this ball of RPM
Rolling.
podcast rolling. Casey, you were at Wall Stadium Saturday night, were you not?
I was almost every Saturday for the most part, trying to be at least.
Scott, you were there because I saw you. Josh, you weren't, but that's okay. This weekend, y'all got a triple
25s for the factory stocks.
So that makes it 75 laps for the factory stocks.
Yeah, it's kind of a race of attrition. Casey, you're familiar with some of the factory stock guys, right?
Somewhat.
I am too. Thanks for asking. Anyway,
I know a couple too.
Yeah,
you could say that. I know Scott.
Yeah. Wait, what am I?
Garbage.
Yeah,
garbage.
Semi-retired.
Thanks. I quit.
Scott, you're getting closer to the rocking chair every day. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, man. I'm telling you, my air conditioner works fine in my garage.
So, Scott, it looked like Nancy had a bit of a rough night last week.
Yeah, she got hit on right in the beginning of the race, and I can't
You
believe
got
she
hit
did
on?
that.
You let that happen?
On the racetrack?
Yeah, and I can't believe she stayed out there because, after the race, I was in tech. I finished second, and she walked over to me. She's like, Scott, the car's wrecked pretty bad. And I said, really? You were out on the racetrack? I saw you out on the racetrack. She's like, I got hit on. I said, what did happen late in the race? She's like, no, I got hit on like lap 1. And I said, really? I said, you're still out there. How bad can it be? And I was in tech. She's like, can you walk over real quick? I'm really nervous. I really screwed the car up bad. So I walked over there and I opened the hood. The upper A-arm was the cross shaft and the upper A-arm was broken in 2 places. It wasn't even attached to the top of the chassis.
Oh,
I said,
my.
Nancy, I'm like, Nancy, you were still driving the car like that? She's like, yeah, I didn't want to pull off on lap 1. I wanted to keep racing. She was driving the car with like the left front tire pretty much hanging off.
Oh, my.
And,
That's dedication.
Yeah, so she finally pulled off on like lap 20. But
did
her
she
car's
pick
all
up a
fixed
few
now.
spots at least?
No, she really didn't because there's really nobody dropped out. I think she only picked up 1 spot because Kenny Green dropped out.
That's correct.
There's 19 cars. She finished 18th. So the bad part is she drove around the whole race like that and never really picked up any spots.
Yeah. A lot of times, I mean, if you hang, that's
Yeah.
what I hate about F1.
She had a great plan to stay out,
Yeah.
but it just didn't pay off for her.
Yeah. Like F1, like, oh, no, it feels a little weird, so we're going to park it. Like, no, stay out. Let the other guys wreck, and at least you can get some, spots.
That reminds me, I raced at Waterford one time and punched it into the wall and came in. My dad fixed what he could, fixed the bumper so that I could actually turn the car. He didn't realize that my A-arm on my right front was completely disconnected. So every time I went into the corner, the whole car went vroom. So when I came out, it was like vroom. And I drove the whole race like that, came home 10.
And I even told Nancy, I said, there's sometimes you can bend your right front A-arm and it might give you more camber and it'll make the car handle better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But she was like, negative in on the left side. I said, you bent it the wrong way. It was pretty bad, you know. But she stayed out there. We got the car all fixed for her, and she'll be back out.
Good for her for sticking with it at the very least. Yeah,
she is getting better and better every week. I love watching her run.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm glad you got most of it back together now.
Yeah, her car was all done. I worked on it like 8 hours on Sunday. We had, after you change the air arm, of course you got to check caster, camber, toe. You got to reset the whole front end. Plus the Nerf bar was bent. I had to make a new Nerf bar up for the car. Left front fender was crushed in. We had to fix the left front fender. So we put a full day on it.
That's what fenders are for.
Yeah, that's what fenders are for.
Blue flag.
I know.
Anyway,
I will.
Okay, Casey.
Go ahead, Sam. Oh, jeez.
I was going to. Go ahead. No, you.
I was going to say, I will admit that, up until the season, I never really watched factory stocks because they were always so late in the night.
Josh, hit the buzzer.
They were always so late in the night. And my dad would always want to leave as soon as we could after the
used to run treaded tires just like you.
Yeah, y'all hauled ass out of there back in the day when you guys raced. It was
not my decision. That was all my dad.
Yeah, Casey's in. Bye, Casey.
Well, back when your cousin, when Eric Graham was racing and Mike Tash or whatever, all right, they would say, hey, let's go to dinner afterwards, and the factory stocks would run last, and the legends would run first. So they're like, all right, what's taking you so long? I'm like, I just got off the track.
Yeah,
we've been waiting for hours.
This is the first year that I've actually stayed to watch the factory stock.
And you saw what you were missing.
Division, right?
What?
Now they are your favorite division.
Sure.
Here, Casey, I'm going to save you here. We talked about the factory stock feature. Our friend Mike Montano ended up winning the race. Scott Riggleman, our very own Scott Riggleman, finished second. Elliott Wall third. And then Haverstick fourth. And Brian O'Shea finishing up in the top 5.
How does that kid not have a win yet?
I talked to Brian O'Shea. We said about 2 words to one another on Saturday. Hi, Brian. Congrats on the
That's like a full conversation.
Right, yeah. Brian's a great guy. Great guy.
I had a full conversation with Brian O'Shea on Saturday.
You know what? You're asking how Brian doesn't have a win this year. It's because we were only 6 races into this year. We had a bunch of rainouts. I think Brian O'Shea is one of the guys that are going to get their first win this year. It's just give him a few more races, and I definitely think he's getting faster and faster every week. He's actually fun to race with. He actually is good to race with. I definitely think Brian O'Shea is going to get a victory this year.
You got so many competitive drivers in the factory stock division too. You got Scott, you got Kenny Green, Mikey's really fast this year. Brian O'Shea is really fast. So there's a lot of really good drivers in that division.
I appreciate you not mentioning Elliott Wall. He doesn't really count. So.
Oh, Elliott. Elliott. Sorry, Elliott.
I mean, look at us sticking in there on the inside of Riggleman.
Just in the last 2 races, I moved from 7th in points up to 2nd. So I'm climbing back up there too now. I had some bad races at the beginning of the year, but it all comes down to this weekend. We got to get through these triple races, and see what happens.
So
Richie's had some bad luck this year, but his car is getting better each week. So
now, Scott, for you, is your plan to kind of be a little more cautious the first race?
No.
Well, that's do you go for it or do you try to save it so you don't get wrecked out?
I really don't change my game plan. I think I race smart every race. If you start overthinking it and get off the way you normally race, that's usually when something happens. So you got to go into the night, just do it, lucky I have a little buffer, if something happens to my car, I can always jump into Nancy's, but I don't want to do that. She wants to race a full season. I hate to see her sit out, but basically I even told Nancy, I said, this weekend, your car is my backup car. Just remember that, but no, you know what though? I do notice the triples, it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong. You get rushed in between you only have one race in between your next race. So you got to, if you finish in tech, you got to get teched real quick, and then you got to, fuel the car, get everything ready, and get back out. So you can't really do any major damage because you don't have much time to fix it. But knock on wood, the last couple of years we've done this, the races have gone pretty smooth. So maybe people do think twice about making daring moves and stuff like that. Plus the handicap gets a little different too. Usually you have the fast guy starting up front, they'll invert the top 8 or something like that. So that limits wrecks too. So
Scott,
the big thing is tire management. You got to figure out what tires you want to run and stuff like that. And
now, does the tire bank adjust for the triple races?
What's that?
Well, I mean, normally you're allowed what, one tire a week, right?
Yeah, no, they said they're going to let us buy 3 tires.
Okay.
It's still 1 tire per race. They're going to paint red, white, and blue on the side, so you can't put all 3 in for the first race. You can only add 1 at a time.
So, but could you put all 3 in for the last race?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a bank. You can save up. That's what I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing now. My tires I have on my car now only have 50 laps on them, so I think I'm going to run them in the first couple races.
Now, if you can just make it a fuel mileage race, Eric Brennan will love it.
He'll be there Saturday.
Backup cars and stuff. Just a quick shout out to Neil Rutt III, letting Darianne drive his car since hers got destroyed last week, and they don't know when they'll be able to fix Betch there, as they call her. So Neil's going to let Darianne run his car, and he actually is putting together a backup car for himself. So I think that's pretty cool.
And speaking of Darianne and the 4 cylinders, Riggleman Towing is putting up a $100 bonus for the female drivers in the 4-cylinder race this weekend. The highest finishing female driver in the 4-cylinder race will receive $100 from us.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, well, it's ladies' night too, right? Casey, it's ladies' night at the racetrack, so that's why we picked this.
They're going to have a special autograph session, I believe, with all the girls from the 4-cylinder. Nancy, I believe,
and
will
Teresa
be there. Teresa, yep.
So we decided to put up a little extra cash for the girls in the 4 cylinders because it's ladies' night.
We mentioned the 4 cylinders. Sal Ligori. Sal,
God,
I'm going to butcher your name till the cows come home.
Eric, you're rehired.
Brian Osborne, that didn't take much. TJ Graves, Neil Rutt, and Mike Lavery finished at the top 5. We talked about factory stocks. In the sportsmen, it was Eric Lane, John McCormick, Kevin Davison, Robert Supton, and Eddie McCarthy running out the top 5.
Sutphin?
Whatever. Modified, Andrew Kraus brought home the modified victory. Second, Stephen Reed, listener, friend of the show. Eric Oriello, Jimmy Blewett, and Ricky Collins. Legend Cars, Michael Caro, Nick Van Winkle, Kyle Dielerman, who I had a conversation with Kyle on the grid. Kyle, was great to actually...
Were you checking his underwear at the time?
I don't know. I told him I wouldn't tell anybody. It was great to actually, finally for the first time, actually talk to you, Kyle. Thank you for supporting the local racing and what we have here going on the RPM podcast. I wish they were all like you, but they're not because they're buttholes. Peter Breen.
Yeah, we should definitely try to get Kyle on the show.
I told him I want him on.
Yeah, he talked to me at the drivers' meeting. He's really into our podcast, so it was great talking to him at the drivers' meeting about the podcast.
And if you haven't already, you should go join him on the Patreon account so we can.
Yeah, he's one of our patrons. We appreciate that $4 a week he gives us. We really do. It goes a long
I think it's a month.
We're actually investing that money, and we're turning it into big money. So
yeah,
we have Miss Evergreen on the show. Peter Bruno.
You don't even want to know what they had to pay me to get on.
Anyway, Limited Late Models, Manchester's own Shannon Monjo won the race. Was it Uncle? It's Uncle Joe, right? Uncle Joe Monjo.
Joe's his uncle, yes.
Harry Schaefer, Rick Koff, and Greg Gastool running the top 5. I'm butchering all those names.
Wait. Go back to that. Greg who?
Gastelli.
Castelli. Now you got me.
Gastallu?
Hey, now.
All right. Listen, I just line you guys up. I can say the number in cars. The white one in front of the red one. Anyway.
Hey, you, number so-and-so.
Yeah, get over there. I actually had a really good time at Wall Stadium. Scott, it was great to talk to you. Kid around with Nancy and stuff for the weekend. Casey, we talked a little bit before the driver's meeting, or actually more at the driver's meeting.
Yeah. Well, basically, you told me that I had to come on here, so here I am.
I did.
You know what? Just touch on the modifieds. The modifieds took a lot of abuse on social media this week.
They did.
They only had 10 cars.
And you stuck up for them, Scott.
I did, and I'm going to stick up for them right now. Those 10 guys that were on that racetrack were all capable of winning that race, and they put on a hell of a show. I mean, it drug out a little bit because it was 40 laps. They did get spread out in the end, but till like lap 25, you didn't know who was going to win that race. They were really battling it out, you know.
And let's not forget, because we did have the tour thing going on, and some of the wall guys up at Evergreen.
Yes.
And I mean, you talk about, depending on where the big race is for a weekend, you get guys from other tracks, and it'll hurt them for that night, and it'll sway back and forth.
Right.
And so you might see low car counts for a week or two, and then but it'll roll.
You know what irks me?
I know.
Go ahead, Casey.
I know Derek Hopkinson will hopefully be back this Saturday behind his
car's been
17.
out of commission after a bad wreck a few weeks ago.
His luck has been out of commission the last like 4 years.
What's that?
What? He's won some. He won a modified race last summer.
Derek, I'm gonna stick up.
But what did he have to go through to get those wins?
Derek should have probably about like 8 times more wins than he actually has. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I think Derek, I love you. I think the best luck Derek's has had so far, and I think you probably have to agree, was when ESPN or whatever covered Wall Stadium and his car was dead center of their graphic.
Right.
When everyone was sharing it, he was like, "Yeah, it's me on that poster." Love Derek.
I tell you what, though, Derek races very hard.
He does.
I mean, I watch him race.
Derek
He's a hard
He
charger,
does.
you know. But the bad thing about when you're a hard charger like that, sometimes you tear up equipment. Not saying it's ever his fault, but I enjoy watching Derek race. I think he's one of the guys that can go wheel with Jimmy Blewett and
oh, absolutely,
and keep going.
Well, that was kind of the big story that I was seeing, was that Blewett didn't win.
Right.
And
Finished fourth.
So, like, was he just having an off night? Did something?
No, he was on the charge at the front. He started dead last, which was 10th. He was coming up. I think he did get into third, but he got a right front flat tire. He had a pit.
Yeah, him and Stephen Reed got together and ended up with a right front.
That was some badass racing.
Yeah. Then he had to come back up through again, which he was doing, but by then he was a little bent up, and like I said, the race got spread out there for a while, and he wasn't able to catch up.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
It's a
enough.
good race, though.
So he was trying to pull the Kyle Busch maneuver.
I mean, he's done it before.
Yeah.
Spin and win. You know what irks me, Scott? You brought up the Facebook page, and
He did it at the Garden State Classic. There were 10 laps to go, and
That's
Blue was
true.
in the back, and then something happened with Eric's car that took out basically the whole half of the field, and Blewett ended up back in first. I mean, Jimmy Blewett is a wheelman. There's,
I would never
I know
deny
he
that.
has his haters, but
He's exciting to watch. Very exciting.
he is.
I
He
think
very
it's it kind of well, all right. Well, not entirely, but some of it was the same reason people hated Jeff Gordon or even Kyle Busch. Now, a lot of people complaining about the whining end of Kyle Busch, but some of it was just the that he was winning all the time.
I heard his wife is really nice.
Where'd you
She
hear
really
that?
is.
I don't know. I think the RPM podcast.
Oh, I love that show.
Speaking of,
We should do a podcast.
I think we should. It has some really cool music. Anyway, speaking of our friends, I'm not a big friend of his because he's a jerk because he made fun of my poster and matching my comforter at college. Joey Bailey got the 30-lap feature win in the AT QMRA.
Wait, wasn't it a special day for him or something?
It
He
was
turned 21.
Scott.
Not at all. Says
Only one
Scott.
birthday on the show, and that's mine.
Yeah.
He's legal. It's terrifying.
You
I've known
said
Joey-
that like you're
Shirley
about to
Muldowney's
pounce.
Birthday too.
He's
You know,
illegal.
Shirley Muldowney,
Oh yeah, the first NHRA, right?
Yeah.
Lady.
Lady.
female. Come on, you don't know who Cha Cha Muldowney is?
It sounds so creepy when you say Cha Cha now.
It's her birthday, and then yesterday, talking about racing greatness, it was Gil Hearn's birthday. So
Oh, happy birthday,
happy
Gil
birthday,
Hearn.
Gil.
Yeah.
By the way, Joey, from all your friends at the RPM podcast, plus me, I guess, congratulations. It was nice knowing you.
Talking about them and car counts, do you know how many cars they had up at Bethel?
I do not. I do not.
No?
I don't have any much information on them. I'm on their Facebook page here.
Josh's favorite factory stock racer, Ronnie Mullen, he races in that division now. Do you know how
I know his son Cole was battling with Joey for a little bit. I saw on Ronnie's.
Yes.
Like-
yeah, they had a good fight. But I mean, the thing is, they're both great young racers. I mean, Cole younger, but still.
I think Cole and Ronnie, they both started first in both their heat races. I think about that.
And I think Ronnie was up there in a borrowed car or something. I saw that too. I don't think Ronnie had his own car. He was driving somebody else's.
I'm not sure.
Man, we are terrible at this.
Oh, I don't know either. But anyway, go check out our friends over at the ATQMRA guys, Buddy Slode and all them.
We're supposed to be having a few of them on for
That's
interviews and such. We are working on that.
We
are
are.
just terribly
Don't forget
slow.
Kyle.
Who?
Oh, yeah, Kyle. Chick-fil-A.
Teasing.
Good old Kyle. You know, it's funny.
You gotta get
when-
Joey Bailey on here.
Screw Joey Bailey. You know what's great is when we had Kyle on the show, and I'm sorry, we were talking to Kyle a few weeks ago at Wall, and all of a sudden Joey comes up and he goes, y'all should go hang out with Kyle. He's got Chick-fil-A in his trailer.
No
and of course,
way.
Eric Graham and I go waddling over, and sure enough, that kid's got Chick-fil-A.
So
Like catered Chick-fil-A?
I don't know what it was. I didn't have any because I didn't feel like Chick-fil-A.
It was
No offense,
Saturday, and
Kyle.
they couldn't. They're going to
True,
close
they closed on
Sunday.
Sunday.
Like Chick-fil-A.
So
I didn't say that. I just thought I wasn't in the mood for it.
Well, Sam Ballard's a Jersey Mike's guy, so he can't eat.
I put my
Chick-fil-A.
subs in the tub.
Subs in a tub. Did you make any subs in a tub today?
I made some. I made a lot last night, believe it or not. For those who
Did you
don't
really?
know, Jersey Mike's has this option called the sub in the tub. It's one of our gluten-free option besides the gluten-free bread. I recommend
How
Scott
he goes,
Riggleman.
it's one of our gluten-free.
Well, I work at Jersey
owns
Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
I work
big
at Jersey
one.
Mike's. My name is Mike. Anyway,
he's a real company man.
yeah. So congratulations to all seriousness to Joey. You work hard. You didn't flip the race car this time around, so congrats. Wall was a great night. We have Wall this weekend. I think all of us are going. All y'all. We're all going.
Yeah.
God, you were
Y'all all
south
We've
too
been
long.
to Wall Stadium this weekend. We have triple 25s for the sportsmen. We also have, triple 25s for the factory stocks, twin 25s for the sportsmen, plus modified.
Please tell me they're going last.
I really hope they're putting like a 10-minute time cap on the sportsman race this week. Is that possible? I know they've been giving them 30, but
You know
come
what?
on,
They give them
Sam,
30
help us out
minutes,
here.
but
That's
goes
not my
longer
job.
and They keep racing.
I think
I know.
the thing is like if they get going, they don't want to like shut it down. Like okay, they're behaving right now. Just let them finish.
They're behaving.
Yeah, let sleeping dogs lie, kind of a thing.
Well, also what happens too is sometimes they knock the wall down on lap 5 and it takes
Scott,
45
you
minutes.
jinxing everything tonight, man.
And they, it takes them 45 minutes to fix the fence. So I'm like, well, it should be over.
Longer than 45
It's been
minutes.
over
It's
a
like
half
an hour.
But they can't call the race on lap 5. So, they
So
let 'em
to
race
all of our
again.
Wall Stadium track crew, if the guardrail happens to get taken down, you know who to blame. Scott Riggleman.
That's
No, I love the sportsman division. It's the best division there.
So one thing we did.
Anyway,
I actually drove a sportsman in practice Saturday. Justin Robiani bought my old car off the Gascos, the old Raceworks car I used to drive.
Okay.
And he had it at the track, and I was the first one to take it out. It was fun taking.
what
it
car
back
was
out.
that?
It was the blue 11. Did you see it? It was parked over by
Oh,
Elliott.
okay. Yeah.
That was my old modified. Justin bought it last year, and he finally got it done. And
Oh, yeah. I spoke to Justin.
yeah, he didn't have a trailer, so I offered him a trailer to use to get the car over there. And then when he got the car over there, he's like, you know what? I need some experience to take it out and, shake it down, make sure the brakes work and it doesn't overheat and stuff like that. So I took it out in the first practice. The car ran pretty good for just being completed,
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun being back in one of my old modifieds.
So now there was a kind of an invite-only special thing that happened where they're inviting a couple sportsman guys to run with the mods.
Like the Garden State Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
This is all news to me.
Really?
Because you were in Canada and you didn't even bring us home Oreos.
Yeah.
Man, I'm such a jackbutt. I think I could say jackass on here because jackass is in the
Casey,
Bible.
you don't
isn't
know.
it?
I'm going to explain it to Casey because Sam didn't know, but Sam went away to
What do I know,
Canada to watch
Scott?
a Formula One race. And in Canada, the Oreos are supposed to be better than the American Oreos. They're made by a different company up
I
there.
thought Scott was going to explain the whole sportsman.
Less
thing,
diabetes.
But, of course, we'll never know because Sam didn't know and he didn't bring us home the Canadian Oreos.
Wow, Sam, you're truly slacking here.
I mean, I feel like a jerk. Scott got me cupcakes, and it was for
I
his
got 'em
birthday.
They're American cupcakes, so they're probably not as good as Canadian.
America.
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 All this diabetes. Anyway, it is
Casey,
ladies.
actually, that show sheet we have means nothing. We just go on a tangent anyway.
Show what?
It's what Google Doc?
Yeah.
You see how well that worked out, right?
Yeah,
Casey?
for those who are actually curious, we actually use a Google Doc here on the RPM podcast, but we don't really actually use it.
Can we? Yeah.
Yeah. We're as used as I am here on the RPM podcast. Anyway, it's ladies' night Saturday night at the RPM podcast. All ladies get
And
in
you're a
for
ladies'
$10.
man, so
No, just like Casey, and I don't have to wear a crown. I get in for free at Wall Stadium because I wear a white shirt. Which means the ladies, you save $8. Go check it out. If you haven't been to Wall Stadium, it's a great time. Gates open at 5 o'clock, qualifying at 5:45. Feature start at 7
Sam,
o'clock.
Let me be your guest.
Sure. Remind me on
Okay.
Saturday.
All right, I'll text you.
There's a special meet and greet for all the female race car drivers at Wall Stadium Speedway. Modified twin sportsman and 3 triple factory stocks and 4 cylinders are on tap for the ladies. And I guess if you're a guy, you can enjoy too.
I miss the powder puff races.
Yeah, I do too.
Do you think if they do a powder puff race, they would let me run?
Yeah, you're overqualified.
I haven't ran a car in 2 years.
You could try to sneak in.
Do you think I could do it?
Yes.
Probably.
I mean, I feel like a woman.
You'd have to shave.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right, never mind. I digress. I do need to shave. But thanks for noticing, Josh.
Did you notice that I trimmed my bush? Did you notice when you pulled up?
Bush. Oh, yeah. Anyway, any last words before we close this puppy out?
Yeah, actually, we mentioned earlier how I went to BAPS. I just want to give a quick shout out to Gary and Brett Conklin. So I was green flag racing experience, Gary. Brett was racing his midget out there. So that's who I was hanging out with out at BAPS. I've known them for 17 years because I raced with them out in quarter midgets. So it was really awesome to hang out with them.
They really
Aren't they preferred to be called little people?
Scott, you stole the words out of my mouth. John Mulaney has a skit, but I'm going to talk about that later.
Yeah.
For any of those who want to laugh your ass off, John Mulaney is funny as hell. Funny as hell. But I don't recommend it if you have morals or core values. I don't recommend it.
Or children.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we doing what we learned tonight, or are we skipping?
Well, we're doing.
No, we're gonna do what we learned today.
We're getting to it.
I wrote mine down.
Casey!
Casey's.
Look, I had a pen and paper here.
Look, see, it's in Sam Ballard Jr.'s text message what I learned. So.
But I have a pen and paper here, but I didn't write one thing down. So,
oh my God! So you took the initiative.
All right, here we go.
Then you failed.
Scott, do you know it takes only 9 pounds to break a nose?
What's that?
You know it takes only 9 pounds to break a nose?
Right,
and it takes one Benny to screw up a podcast. I'll tell you that. Hey, love you, Eric. Are we doing what we learned today?
Of course.
Alrighty.
So let's start with.
I refuse to go first.
Oh boy. I'm gonna.
That's a double standard.
Scott, what have you learned today?
I learned that I turned 45 today.
Woo! Happy birthday!
And
should we sing? I feel like we should sing to Scott.
So did the AARP cards start coming in, or?
No, not yet. I'm still good on the AARP card, but I will fill one out when it's time.
Okay. Well, I also did the Alzheimer's start setting in because you forgot to write down your.
I learned it's my birthday today. I learned that it's also Shirley Muldowney's birthday. It was Gil Hearn's birthday yesterday. I learned all that. I learned Casey doesn't know how much it costs to get into Evergreen because she gets in for free.
Free is for me.
Yes.
That's why I'm Sam's guest on Saturday.
Oh my God.
I know how to treat a lady.
Sam's gonna do the polite thing and pay for you because that's the kind of boy he is.
Why you gotta put me on blast on the RPM podcast?
Because Casey wanted your number just so that you could pick her up when she gets drunk and take her home because you're that sweet. Because I told her the story about when you drove out to pick up your friends that we end up waiting an extra hour and a half.
Friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're like, oh, all right, well, I don't want them driving drunk, so I'm gonna go pick them up and
They weren't drunk. They were just trying out a really good pizza place in Charlotte, which does exist.
But did it have a bar?
Right, Keith, go ahead. What you learned? My birthday's only another half hour, and I gotta get one more present before my birthday.
Oh my God!
Oh my God!
Doesn't 50 Cent have a song about that?
Stop! Casey, please go.
I learned that Josh chokes on bowls. I learned that Scott doesn't like sitting on straws. I learned that Sam feels like a woman. And
I am Catholic.
And I also learned that Scott turned 45.
That's awesome.
I wasn't going to throw your age out there, Scott. I was going to say 29, but
I think
he said it. He said it before, but I was going to say you don't look a day over 30.
I'm proud I'm 45. Still winning races at age 45. That's
but you gotta keep the scruff beard thing because you look weird shaved.
And I learned that you guys need a permanent female on this RPM podcast. And
you're hired.
It's me.
As long as we can hold the same rate that we paid you for tonight.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I might even add another 0 to that.
Yes.
Sam, what did you learn today?
All right, here we go. Casey needs a date before you check her underwear. I learned that 36 factory stocks are good, but 30 modifieds aren't. Samantha Bush is very approachable. Brexton, however, is not. Hay and straw are different, but New York City straws are not the same thing as Southerner straws, whatever you want to call them. Casey has a curfew. Matt Hirschman takes great pictures, but not with Casey. Blake Barney is a school skipper, and apparently Casey gets paid to come to the RPM podcast.
Well,
zeros.
We have a.
I don't want to know. Anyway, Josh,
we have an NDA, so it's
Frio.
free 99. Anyway, Josh, go ahead. What did you learn today?
I learned that Sam wants to get off his mommy. I learned that Roger needs to take Casey out to dinner. I learned that Allgaier is not a sex offender. I learned that Blewett was a little bent up, and I learned that Sam is a jackbutt.
That was really.
I'm trying to keep it PG on the RPM podcast because, I want to be an announcer one day, and I just, the hot dog references is just too much. Anyway, it has been a real pleasure.
Miss Evergreen.
Dear God. I'm not a Subway guy. I'm a Jersey Mike's guy.
You know what?
I'm a Mike guy.
A fun, quick tie-in. I'm sure all of us here have watched The Simpsons at some point. And do you remember how Maud Flanders died? No. All right. They were. She got hit by a T-shirt gun and it knocked her over the top of the bleachers or the stands, and she fell to her death. And just before that, she was going to get hot dogs for the family, and Ned Flanders goes, "Oh, remember, no footlongers." And she goes, "I know, they make you uncomfortable." And here, the best part of all this was they were at a NASCAR race in that episode, or a stock car race.
Well, we wouldn't know where Eric Brennan was in that episode. Anyway, Casey, great night tonight. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yes.
Scott, thank you for spending your 45th birthday with us on the RPM podcast. Have fun in the next 32 minutes. Josh, thanks for doing what you do, Josh. And I am Sam Bowd. I'm going to end the show before Scott kicks my ass. Thank you for listening. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram. Hashtag the RPM podcast. We love you guys. And we will see you next week. Share this somewhere over here. We will see you next week.
Share it over there.
Go to Wall. And I'm over here now. Good night, everybody.
Go to Wall.
Night.